Maybe we'll ask if anyone has a question to begin with, yeah? Yeah. So does anyone have a question? Yeah.
There's something that's been on my mind that I've been listening to this presenter, Anita Morjani, and I started listening to her because I recently had a medical diagnosis that was kind of scary. And she talks a lot about, like, seeing through the fear and how the medical system is all oriented towards fear and illness rather than health care. And she had been had lymphoma that was completely taken over her body, and she had a near-death experience and completely healed, and then came back and started doing this message about how fear causes. That's what she needed to learn. It was that the fear caused her illness, and that she turned that around by um, basically healing, seeing that love was what was important. But like, it's not really about Anita that I'm asking, because it it's it seems important to, I mean, I know you'd probably call it being about anxiety and not fear, but I've seen in my own life how these, like, emotional things, these suppressed emotions will lead to pain. Like, I cured my chronic neck pain by just understanding that an awareness of, like, repressed anger and frustration can lead to that. And this was something that went on for years and years, and it went away after I understood that. I mean, I don't know how these things work, but it seems like allowing the body to heal itself rather than sort of the fear focusing your actions, or becoming contracted from that, or
Yeah.
is
So
really
listen,
key.
what we would do with this, though, in this platform is just ask, who is it that has the fear? Yes? Instead of trying to look through the fear, who is it that doesn't want to look through the fear? Yeah, that would be
Yeah.
the value. We're going towards another value, the value of sort of emptiness, not the value of healing and stuff like that. That's all valid. But in this platform, the more important thing is to see who the hell is or isn't there. Yeah. And so, because the fear is given a meaning before the fear gives meaning. Yeah. And that meaning fear has is given by a sense of being a long lasting, independent, separate entity. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's ask
Mhm.
if you are that long lasting, independent, separate entity. And if you aren't, there's going to be a seeing through the fear, not by your great gargantuan heroic effort, but by
Right.
a mission of, yeah.
Yeah.
So everything has an importance, but here we stay on this point because if you don't see it, you're looking from it. So, yeah. So once you make fear the topic, there's a reflection in that of a you. Yeah. And so every time we talk about the fear after that, there's a reflection of a you that's going unnoticed, but is reinforcing a lot of fucking shit. Yeah. So we like to sort of not go to another topic at the expense of the platform and just use whatever topic there is to point one way, not towards or through the topic, but who or what is having the topic. Yeah,
Yeah.
very simple. Because the meaning of the fear is more actually connected to the one before. And if there's no one before, there's a lot of relief available, fear or no fear. Yes. So
Hmm.
belief will not be dependent on seeing through the fear, because some people are going to say to themselves, I can't see through the fear, and so on and so forth. And then it now goes back to, well, I should be able to see through the fear, or blah, 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 and it just goes off. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
it becomes like an effort project.
yes, we just bring it back to and when you ask who or what it is, there's no definite thing. It's like a question mark. Yeah. And it pauses the whole activity of the system. And for a second there, you're not getting any reflection of a you. Yes. It's beautiful. You see your original face, which is not a face. It's not a face who has fear and has to see through the fear or da da da. It's not a face. And that's the beauty of this. And then there'll be a travel later through whatever predicament you're in. And some people, it's beautiful what happens and how people sometimes get healed. But when they try to mass produce it, it doesn't work in a lot of ways, because this is a subjective experience. Yeah.
Yeah, that was what I was concerned about.
Yes.
Was
One
it's
cure
very
for
unique.
somebody is not a cure for everybody. It just doesn't work that way. Yeah. And so somebody would get the same effect in totally in an opposite way, because it goes to show you that there's a hierarchy of meaning, and that which is given meaning, yeah, is given meaning by something else that without us knowing it. And this is this knowledge and a way of looking at things that's represented as a long-lasting, independent, separate entity or something. Yeah. This is like what we want to look at, because this is going to allow you to travel lighter through whatever other every or any other topic. Because if you notice, you may have 50 topics, but there's only one you having the topics. Yeah. So I would say what's the most important topic is the you, not the 50 topics it has. Yes. And we have this 1 hour just to keep pointing. Yeah, that way, that way. But healing is great. And I'm sure yeah, it's great. And it can help you. But
Yeah, it's a very powerful tool that you're pointing to. That's yeah, it doesn't negate the other stuff. It just puts it
no,
all in a different light.
see what yeah. What would be the greatest healing or the greatest balm put on something that could be hurt and have to heal would be the unhealingness of our nature. Yes. Untouchable, vulnerable. Yeah. What's going to blast through fear that's completely associated with being a long-lasting, independent, separate thing that needs to get things outside that are essential to its existence, to have some relief from all those burdens by recognizing you're not that, yes, and you don't have a beginning or an end. And yeah, I find it's the one balm, BALM, that you can apply to everything. It's not a specific target. It heals in a generous or a general way, and and it just brings a lack of importance to a lot of shit that's been seen to be very important. And there's a relief there. Yeah. So here we are, like Ramana said, in that little, my friend's here and he likes to hear about Ramana. So here's another Ramana one we say all the time, because it stuck with me. That's why. And it was a simple situation, because I've attended spiritual groups where there was meetings, and inevitably they get to this question of free will and or predetermination. Yeah, so everyone sort of wants to know, is there free will or predetermination, or is free will a part of predetermination? Yeah. So Ramana must have heard it thousands of times, and he hears it once again. And he says, this to me is the most succinct, one of the most succinct descriptions of how something happens in time. Yeah. There's usually a before and an after. So he goes to the before. He says, if there's a sense of, so he doesn't say anything about free will or predetermination. He goes to is if there's a sense of free will, and he's basically saying there is a sense of free will, and it's, I mean, a sense of individuality, then there'll be a sense of free will. So the first things first is the sense of individuality is manufactured. And what comes along with the sense of individuality is the sense of free will. Now, if you want to know the truth about free will, know the truth about the sense of individuality. And if you see that you're not though there's a sense of individuality, that does not make an individual. In dreaming, a lot of shit can be manufactured. So in the dreaming, it cannot produce an individual, but it produces a sense of individuality. And then us, as raw mind, picture it as an individual. So the sense of individuality is the maker, the seeming maker of the individual, not the individual putting out off a sense of individuality, where most people would see it that second way. They would say there's an individual, that's why I feel like an individual, but that's not the case. There's a sense of individual that implies that there's an individual. Yeah, so the before is after and the after is before. So he doesn't go to the free will or anything, it goes to the sense of individuality. Because if there's that sense, and there's going to be that sense of individuality, but it does not prove that you and I are an individual. It's a sense of individuality. And just like that sense, you're going to have a sense of free will. You can spend 4 weeks in a no free will seminar. And when you go to the ice cream store, Baskin Robbins, and there's 28 flavors, and you've been saying, I'm going to have vanilla, and then you switch and get mocha, it's going to blow those 4 weeks. Because this has a sense of individuality, and with that, there's a sense of free will. Yeah. It doesn't have a sense of predetermination. It doesn't. So it's you're never going to win the argument and convince it it's everything's predetermined. That's not the sense it's driven by. It's a programmed sense that it's free, has free will. And so what's the point of trying to change it if you're not it? I could see if it was you and it was so misleading and it was causing a lack of knowledge and it was really fucking me up, then it would be good to know, but it's not you. Yeah, that's the knowledge of it. The knowledge is, it doesn't, seeing it's not you doesn't set you off on a course of building a better you. You lose interest in it all. And this is the freedom you've been looking for. The freedom isn't obviously for the individual, it's from the individual. Yeah. Yeah. It's worked this way. I'm just repeating back how it worked. Like reverse engineering. Yeah. I had seemingly I lived as if the cart was in front of the horse. Though it wasn't. But the way I looked, it was like the cart was in front of the horse. I was looking, as the Course in Miracles says, I was seeing only the past. Yeah. I had no fucking clarity. It was like being at that dinner table and facing away from the table, and then looking at the kitchen door while the food was right there. All I needed, I don't need a breakfast, it's there. All I have to do is change the seat has to move, so I'm facing this way, and what do? I start eating. Yeah. Blue is blue, red is red. Yes, I start eating. Here you start traveling lighter. You recognize what has been the fulcrum of all this interest and attention and obsession has been this long-lasting, independent, separate entity. And when you finally hold it as not you, you lose interest in it. Yeah, there you go. And so instead of having a drive to be liberated, you lose interest in the need to be liberated, because that which needs to be liberated is not you. Yeah. That which wants to get out of the body is not you. You're not a body. Only thing that wants to get out of a body is a body. Yeah. You're not a body. So you lose interest in all of these things. And then blue is blue and red is red, and you're here, completely here. Yeah. Yeah. So, you could try to explain it from another direction, but that explaining would just emphasize the you. In this direction, the you gets underemphasized, completely underemphasized. Yeah. Yeah. So thank you. I don't know where I was, whatever. It just went somewhere. So who's anyone else?
If anyone has any
Yeah,
questions.
excuse me. I couldn't find my raise hand, so I thought I'd just start talking.
Wow.
I mean, back to Eric's question, and then what you went into. I mean, you could really say what Ramana said, the sense of individuality, but it's not just the sense of free will, but it's the sense of everything here, right? I mean, the sense of fear, the sense of chaos, the sense of upset, it's the sense of anger, the fear of death, and on and on.
The sense of joy, the sense of empathy.
Yeah, the sense of individuality breeds, yes.
Yes. There's a lot of senses of a lot of things, but there's no one having them. That's the non-duality message. So, don't blame me. All non-duality central. I'm just reporting in. This is the message. The message is events happen, deeds are done. You could throw in senses are felt or had, but there's no individual doer thereof. So we know managing and trying to control events and deeds and senses doesn't or hasn't worked, has it? Well, you'd probably not be here. People come to this because other shit didn't work, obviously. They've been through so many things, and this is like the last house on the block. So basically, they didn't come here brimming with success. Shit hasn't worked out because they've been busy trying to change their senses and their this and their that and it hasn't worked. Yeah. You think if you can, if you spend your whole, like a week in a controlled environment where everything is managed so you don't get any like uncomfortable feeling, but that can only be paid a lot of money to, or it can't last. Life's gonna rub, you're gonna rub shoulders with life. Yeah. So this is another way of looking at it. You're gonna look at it no matter what. You're awake, you're aware. You're gonna look at it. This is another way of looking at it. So this way of looking at it is, yeah, senses occur, things are all happening, but there's no individual doer thereof. That means you, and it means the people you think are fucking everything up. They're not an individual doer. It's not like a lady once she called me up and says, I've lost my ego, but everyone else's ego is bothering me. You know what I mean? No, it means if you're not an individual doer, there's no individual doer. Yeah, so you're not going to get a get out of jail free card where you want to send those people to hell. It doesn't work that way. Yeah, you see, things are blowing through people, producing effects, just like they're blowing through you. It doesn't anger produce a different effect in you than joy? When the winds of anger blow through you, does it produce a different sense or effect than joy when it's blowing through you? Hmm?
If you're waiting for a response, well, yes.
So the sense of joy and the sense of anger are like winds blowing through you. Yeah.
Yes.
And therefore, if they're blowing through you, they're blowing through what we call other. Yes. You want real, like the Course says about forgiveness, it says the real, what's before forgiveness is atonement, which is you don't see anyone as the doer of the shit that's happening. Yeah. So you don't, there's no need to forgive because you're not holding them in fucking contempt, so to speak. Yes. So atonement is nothing actually really happened here. What? Yeah. Yeah. So a sense doesn't make it so. A feeling doesn't make it a fact. Yeah. And I'm humbly sharing with you that the sense of individuality comes first, and it implies something, and then the feeling of being an individual comes after. It's not like the perfume an individual or the BO an individual produces is the sense of individuality. No, it's the BO imagined as what would have a BO, what, if you know what that is, body odor. What would have a BO? Yes, a body. So it gets to the body by the sense of a BO. What if you could just leave it as a sense of BO, you wouldn't say anyone's things. It would just BO. There's so much freedom from it. Yeah. You see? Again, I'm just sharing how it works for here. That's all. When I found out, let's say you find out you're a fraud. Yeah. And you don't want to be a fraud, obviously. So you try not to be a fraud and you feel like one all day. That doesn't work. Yeah. I don't care if you do it on your head or in a yoga posture, it doesn't work. Yeah. This message works. You take the oomph out of everything. It's sort of like the Wizard of Oz, when you're hearing the explosions and you haven't gotten a good look at the Wizard of Oz, the explosions are incredibly, it's earth-shattering, it's the end of the world. Then you see the Wizard of Oz, he's a small little dude, and you hear the explosions now and you don't have the same reactions, though they're the same explosions. Yeah. This is what we're doing here. The emperor, we see the emperor with no clothes, this sense of everything that is pictured by us, in a sense, as a thing. And now that thing has all the senses. Well, there is no thing, there's just senses of things. Yeah? Yeah. So it uses time. So just like selfing, selfing cannot make a self, cannot. Selfing is not describing a thing. It's just implying something. So the selfing has you as a thing already. It says, I did this, I'm going to do that, blah, 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 blah. So your ability to think about it is like it's already so. It's not like, oh, I'm becoming a self. No, you start as already a self. That's like limits possibilities unbelievably. Yeah. And then the selfing never can create a self. It just implies there's one. Yeah. So there's a listening to it. And when you're listening to it, you picture how you hear it, what it's being said. And you picture a long-lasting, independent, separate thing. That's the doer, the thinker, the feeler, the taster. That's exuding all these senses of guilt and fraud and hatred and all like this. Yet it's not true. This is the belief of non-duality, where it says being ourselves reality, or there's that which we're calling us is a non-existent thing, actually. And the mental state is mixing up the existence with the non-existent thing. And now we're walking around as an existent thing. Yeah. And we want to get salvation for that existent thing. And therefore we practice a lot of stuff. And those spiritual practices are reinforcing this mistake. of calling the non-existent thing an existent thing, and how are they going to destroy it? Yeah, that's the conundrum of non-duality as presented in Ramana Maharshi's teachings. There's a presupposing of a non-existent thing of being what? An existent thing. Yeah. All right. So the non-existent thing is moved aside and everything starts at the existent thing. And even wanting salvation starts at the existent thing, which is a non-existent thing. So while we try to be free as an existent thing, which is a non-existent thing, we reinforce the mistake that we'd love to get out of. Yeah. So what's one to do? Start, ask who the hell it is. Yeah. We're not arguing there's events or deeds. We're just saying there is no individual doer thereof. That's all. Yeah. So there's doing without a doer. There's seeing without a seer. There's feeling without a feeler. There's tasting without a taster. There's hearing without a hearer. Yeah. Instead of having a narrative that's based on the hearer, the feeler, the taster, the thinker, the doer. Yeah. We're putting the verb before the imaginary noun and then questioning the imaginary noun. We're not living from the noun and then questioning, why did I do all these verbs? Yeah. It worked where I'm sitting. Yeah. And nothing else had worked. Everything was compounding that which I wanted to be relieved of. Yeah. So, yep. Anyone? And by the way, Michael, in San Clemente, you're a lifetime member of ZenBishop.com. Yes?
Yeah.
Mike?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you, brother.
You're welcome. And I'm not saying this is so or not so. I'm just saying how it's so with where I am. Yeah, just putting it out there as clearly as I can. Yeah. And if it works, far out. If it doesn't work, it's, whatever. You can move from one Zoom to another. Hopefully you'll find what you're looking for.
Kathleen has
Oh,
her
lifetime
hand
member of
raised.
ZenBishop.com.
Sorry.
Yes. No, it's all right.
Kathleen,
Oh, Kathleen.
Oh, I was wondering if selfing is the same as a sense of doership.
It's based on a sense of doership to begin with.
But a sense of doership is not the same as a sense of individuality, right?
Well, it's part of us of an individual. The sense of individuality needs a sense of doership, or whose life would it be anyway? Yeah. If you were living a life and you didn't believe you were the doer of it, it would disown your ownership of a life. How could you call it your life? Yeah. So the doership is a big way of validating that this is your life and you're the long-lasting, independent, separate entity that's living it, because you look at what I've done and look at what I haven't done. Yes? Yeah? Yes, Kathleen?
Sorry, Paul. I'm just I don't know. I don't know. Yes, I just there's two questions this came to ask you, and so letting you answer 'em. That's all.
Well, you can ask them again if you like. We'll,
So I was just thinking that selfing might be the same thing as a sense of doership.
well, yeah, because, well, it's actually not. The sense of doership is there, and then when the sense of doership responds to selfing, it thinks it's the one doing it or being done to by it. Yeah?
Yeah.
Flavor of it being done to by it or being the doer of it is that sense of doership, yes. But the selfing is another layer of it, yeah?
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
And the sense of individuality is a sense of a character here, Kathleen, this individual character.
Yes.
Doesn't mean that this character that doesn't mean that this character couldn't be feeling no sense of doership, experiencing no doership.
You can experience no doership, but it usually will be accompanied by a sense of doership.
Okay.
And you see that as the mechanical thing. So it's not you that's going to stop doing that sense of doership because you're not doing it. It's mechanical, yes? It's like releasing an idea, and then you release a perfume and a scent and a ink, yeah? And when those things are let out, they imply something. They reinforce the other vague idea, yeah? So but the hierarchy is for the sense of free will, which would be a doership part, yeah? There has to be a sense of individuality. So in the manufacturing of it, the sense of individuality is first, yes.
Okay.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, because obviously doership has a sense of the free will is part and parcel of the whole idea of doership. I should have done something and I didn't, or I did something I shouldn't have done, yes? Yeah, so that it can riff like crazy. But the hierarchy, as Ramana put it, is the sense of individuality is really what comes before and allows the next sense, which is the sense of free will. Yes? So if you want to lose interest or whatever, or be at peace concerning free will and predetermination, it would be found not in debating free will or predetermination, but seeing the losing interest in the sense of individuality. Yeah? Because it's a sense of individuality that has interest in the idea of free will or predetermination. Because predetermination would fuck it up pretty good. Yeah, because obviously it thinks it has free will. And all the guilt and shame it's made out of stuff that you shouldn't have done would be blown out of the water, because whatever was supposed to happen happened, and whatever wasn't supposed to happen didn't happen. Yeah, that's not much to work with when it comes to the head. How many times could it drag you over the coals if the predetermination was really seen, so to speak, yeah? Ramana said it was all predetermined, didn't he? I'm pretty sure he put it out there quite often. Yeah, but he said that the importance doesn't matter, because the sense of individuality is really the card that calls the other cards to play, yes? So you can try to change all the other cards, but if you don't, that first card is really the most influential, yeah? Yeah, yeah. So why not go to the first card? This is what I feel he's saying. Forget about, and then he goes on further and he says, any question or all questions, really, their only value is to point to who's having the question, basically. That's where he saw the value in all this stuff was, yeah? And I humbly concur in my crude manner, yeah? I believe, why go this way when all of this way is given meaning from here? Yeah, I'd rather go here. Yeah, just check it out. Maybe you can't change the meaning given to things, but you can lose interest in all the meaning given to things. And that will will play the role of a huge change without changing anything. Yeah? Yeah, yeah. Oh, man. All right, anyone else? We're diving deep here. We're diving deep. Yes? We've left the 3 feet part of the pool.
Thank you, Paul. I believe David Lowe has a question, maybe.
Oh, David
Yeah.
Lowe, yeah.
Hey,
Sorry.
Paul, greetings. So I guess this is delusional hair splitting, but let's say for you, your experience of a sense of the infinite, you take refuge in the infinite. That's an aspect of existence, right? And couldn't
That is existence, actually, yeah.
so there's there's an aspect of my existence which I don't need to try to deny because it's going to continue as the infinite.
Well, yeah, but yeah. Yeah, I guess so. But continue and infinite, like clash in my comprehension. Infinite wouldn't need to continue. It's all, yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
And an aspect, unless you say there's infinite aspects, I would think that would be the infinite, yeah.
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 And yet every infinite aspect wouldn't lose the sense of infinite, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. We were talking about today, every ocean in the world is held by something, isn't it?
Right.
You've ever been in deep water and then you have a feeling you can't swim that well and you're getting tired. And it's such relief when you touch the bottom, yes? When your foot hits something, you're in the water, but there's a bottom to it. And then all this anxiety and stuff dissipates because now you can walk out of the water. Yeah.
Yeah. Never been caught in a riptide, but I know what you mean.
Yeah. So here's all this water, and no matter how deep the water is, it's held by something else. Yeah. There's not ocean. There's a core of something, and then ocean is held. Yeah. So every ocean has a bottom. Yes.
Yeah.
It's not like infinite ocean. There's an ocean, and all the stuff that's going on in the ocean is still held by something else. That's not ocean, literally. Yeah. I
Right.
mean, there may be wetness on the bottom, but the bottom isn't ocean. It's something else. Yeah. It's the basis of allowing the ocean to be the ocean. Yeah. It has to be held. So this is the underlying understanding to me. It's sort of like when you're bouncing around as an action figure and you're telling yourself you should be able to swim. Why can't you swim? And it's just so much nice when your foot hits the ground, and then there's a rush of security. Yeah. Not by you talking yourself into it, but just by feeling a firm ground. Yeah, this is what this message is. It's like a firm basis. And when you're swimming and doing all this and doing that, and when you land on it, there's not a you that, but the mind lands on it, there's relief. It finds there's soundness there. Yeah. And now it has a different relationship with the ocean because of the rootedness. Yeah. And who the hell, when they're talking about the ocean, very rarely are you talking about what holds the ocean, literally. Yeah. It's just all the content of the ocean is very interesting, but without that being held, yeah. Yeah. So this is what I feel like the message is. You hear it and it rings true for you, and that ring echoes and it reverberates in like, let's say, non-organic tissues that are holding memories and traumas and shit like that. And you've been moved to try to do everything to change this. And yet when this bell rings and how it vibrates, it changes what it moves through. Yeah. And you travel lighter. Yeah. This is like non-duality is the bottom of this ocean. And you can, when you you truly have the security you're not finding in the ocean when you put your foot on the bottom. Yeah, yeah, solid. That's sort of what it's like. Nothing that I've ever was introduced to or met has resonated. I mean, there was maybe 4 or 5 pulling of the bell, but the bell keeps ringing. It doesn't need another pull. It just takes off on its own. Yeah, I've never met anything like that. I never met anything that I could have called the last answer. Never. It was always some more you know, I had a extreme something or radical something or this. No, this is just dog shit awareness. It's just like we say, there's nothing new in non-duality. 2024, 2025, there's nothing new in non-duality. Yeah. And this is why just point the other way, because we're assuming something that's not true. We're talking from an imagination. We're not talking from the bottom. We're not on firm ground. The head is in a very shaky situation. There's no foundation to it, and its nature is agitated. Yeah. It's so cool to find something that when you entertain it as true, it actually is true. Because there's so much shit I've entertained as true that wasn't. But then I entertained this and it is. Yeah. Yeah. So, yep. Yeah. Anyone else? What can I do? I'm gonna humbly say, there's a mental activity that's mechanical. You as what you're not and you as what you are have nothing to do with it, literally. Yeah. That mechanical movement of claiming what's brought about by a conscious contact, an event, a deed, yeah, that claiming is very fast. And in the world of processes, I do not believe there can be a process that can beat that process. So in a blink of an eye, you believe you're a thing. You've been a thing and you're going to be a thing. Or something believes it, you don't. Yes? And then whatever comes after that process is infected by that process. So now every process after that is held as a someone doing it. Yeah? Every one of them. Bad things, good things, spiritual things, material things. There's always a you doing it. Yeah? 50 different topics, one you. Yeah? 80 different things sought, but one seeker. Yeah? Yeah? So the second process, if it's about negating the first process, is going to be used to reinforce the first process, as Ramana explains with the non-existent thing, wanting this, yes, that's what's going on. So the infection from the first process goes through the second process and the third process and the fourth process. And what you do in the fourth, third, and second process does not change the first process. The mechanical selfing continues, yeah? The claiming of what's going on and having a picture of what or who is that which is claiming, which is you. Yeah. I just don't think you can meditate yourself out of there. I don't think you can do yourself out of there. I can't think you can transcend yourself out of there because you're not in there. Yeah. Now, if you were in it, you could maybe transcend it, but you're not in it. So futility is the success. Yeah. You can have two people say the same thing with two different meanings. A person can say, I'm never going to get it, and they're super pissed off and frustrated because they want to get it. And another person can say, I'm never going to get it, and it's a hallelujah. Yeah? Because they've recognized you can't get what you already are, as they say in Massachusetts. You can't get what you already are. This is how I understand non-duality. Hasn't changed in 20, 30 years. I could be completely wrong, but I'm putting it out there because that's the only thing I can go by. I do not believe non-duality is something that you do. I don't. Yeah. So you're never gonna get it. Hallelujah. You can't get it, which is maybe a drag for some people, but there's a benefit. You can't lose it. Yeah. You can't achieve it, but you can't underachieve. You can't unachieve it. It's beautiful. Yeah. It's like that desert tortoise is going to frustrate the coyote because the coyote can't get to any meat. Yeah. And the same thing, a seeker looking to find through non-duality is going to be super frustrated. And that's the point of it. Yeah. When a seeker who's been a verified seeker for 30 years enters non-duality, he's going to be super fucking frustrated. Yeah. Because what's going to be pointed out is not which is sought, but the seeker itself. You're going to see the emperor with no clothes. Yeah. And then hopefully you're going to know the emperor has no clothes. So no matter how many times it appears with new clothes, you'll see right through it. Yes? There you go. All right. Judy Lovins.
Meryl has her hand up, and it's good to see you again, Meryl. So just go ahead and unmute.
Meryl.
Really appreciate this today. I have had a period recently where I have had real challenges. I have had putting out fires, wreckage of my past, all this stuff, and I find it sometimes not possible to stay conscious of this message in the face of things exploding. Even if it's an appearance of exploding around me, I'm at such a subsistence level that it's very challenging. And I think from what I'm hearing today, it sounds like, and I guess I'm asking if this seems, if I can hold this message in the face of all of that, if I can, it seems like what it might be like in my day to day while I deal with all these really big challenges would be just that I would be more forgiving in it. Forgive me, I'm emotional for like all week. I'm emotional, but that I'd be more forgiving of failing or of just all of, there's a lot that comes along with, I'm struggling physically, worldly things struggling right now. And yeah, so just that, does that seem like that would be, maybe I'm not trying to be negative, but like that's the best, that's what I'm looking for in those situations, that I can say.
Well, you don't have to say anything.
Okay.
Just surrender what you think is your ordained job to manage and control. Just admit you're outmatched. Yeah.
Yeah.
In that admittance, something will enter the vacuum. It will. Let's call it grace or peace or, yeah. You're
And-
outmatched. We're all outmatched. Yes?
Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah. And the way it may seem from a mental logic would be there's no good ending, but there's so many good endings. There really are. So the way we see things is a form of blindness in a lot of ways. So you just have to sort of, hey, I'm beaten. I can't pull it off. Great. Yeah.
I guess I could see that. Then it would be like, if I really, that does feel true. And then it could be like, yeah, so okay, what's next? Like, and then I can just being open and not judgment and not judging. Just, yeah, okay.
Yes, and just take the next step. Yes. That's all. You don't we always say in AA, don't just stay out of the outcome business. Just do what's in front of you. Suit up and show up. And it's a very solid advice, I feel,
Yeah.
to the action figure. Yeah,
Yeah. Thank you.
yeah, yeah. And don't take it all on, share, do whatever. Don't let this pressure build up. Yeah, yeah. The head would love to make a bomb out of it, so. Yeah. Yep. But it needs you as the fuse. So if you don't let it light you up, it's not gonna blow. Yeah. Literally, and maybe you shrink it down to an hour at a time, a day at a time. Yeah, you're gonna make it, honey. Yeah, yeah. These people will help you send, energy towards you. Yes. Yeah, you're not alone in all this. Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of people in Zoom that care about you and you can talk with them and stuff. Yeah, yeah. And then report back next week and see how everything's going.
All right. Thank
And
you
if
so much.
it's working better, honor that. Yeah,
Yeah.
honor it, because it wants to forget a miracle in an hour. The head. You've got to really effort
Yeah.
and honor when it's wrong. Yeah, and know that it's a failed system, literally. Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah.
I do have experience of that I can remember. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah. And we just did this thing in the recovery meeting where in a nondescript page of the big book on page 53, they talk about faith, not a faith, but faith, the force that we represent, literally. Yeah, we are faith or trust, and faith has a lot to do with it all the time. So wherever you are or find yourself, faith has a big role there. And so what we have in recovery is a shift from faith in finite self to faith in the infinite. And here's an opportunity for you to be open to that migration, faith in the idea that you're guilty or whatever, and allow it to be moved, not you moving it, but to be moved to faith in the infinite. Yeah. Yeah. So, hey, I had to use it a lot, man. Can you imagine what it was like when I came in sober, the shit that had happened and stuff? As a doer, wow, I was destined for hell for sure. So, yeah. And it didn't look good many a day. And I just didn't act out or do anything too stupid, and it all constantly got a lot better. Yeah. Yes. All right, honey. Thank you for sharing here. Anyone else in this potpourri of characters, the Zooms? Little squares, David Lowe with his little action hat there. Very good. And Kathleen with the air balloons waiting in the background. Steve C. in San Diego. Very willing to be of service. Yeah, very nice. Anyone?
No more hands at the moment.
What moment is that? The moment. Oh,
There's only one.
and in that one, it's 10:55 in Italy.
I think Mary wants to say something.
All right, Mary. Mary? Mary McNulty, I think you may have your mute thing on.
Can you unmute Mary?
Yeah, can't hear.
Bottom left corner.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Paul, you talk about us being the place where things happen. And you talk about us being the representative of faith. Can you link that a little bit to, you have a lovely story about the professor of holes, and when
Yes,
people fall down them.
yes,
And if you could link the idea of the ability to see ourselves as faith in action, and the difference between that and that of traveling lighter and then falling in holes repeatedly,
Right.
even though we travel lighter and we are really the representation of faith.
well, let's, we'll have to take it a little bit at a time. So I like the representation of faith. Well, sometimes how you notice it is hearing it, yeah? So if in some way you read it or you hear that's phrasing it, it may trigger a recognition that faith is what leads us, yeah? So I see faith as a force, sort of like gravity and stuff. And we represent faith. I mean, what is manifestation but faith? So faith is the force of mind's manifestation. So when Jesus supposedly was healing people, and he would always say, it's done according to your faith, or as you believe, so it is. And I believe he was probably saying that about everything. They just wrote about healing, but in any situation you could say, hey, I'm blah, 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 and it's done according to your belief. So when you see your role in things, the emphasis on other people's role in things diminishes, yes? Yeah, and so that's how I see faith. And the professor of holes represents having self-knowledge, which is that avails you nothing. So you know how a hole is made, the size of holes, the depth of holes, but you keep finding yourself in holes. Yeah. So that knowledge of holes is availing you nothing. Yes. Now, is knowledge of holes not valuable? No, but when the head claims it, yeah, and you turns it into self-knowledge, then self-knowledge avails us nothing in the recognition of what is and what isn't concerning self. Yeah, it doesn't work. So a lot of people have gathered a lot of knowledge as self, and they're holding it as a self. So the self has gathered a lot of knowledge about itself, and I don't believe that takes you far. Yeah. So I think I covered one or two. What were the other ones?
Well, how does what we are find itself slipping down holes repeatedly? And
But what you are is slipping down holes. The action figure is slipping down holes.
right,
What you are is the awareness of whatever's going on. And at that point, you're slipping down holes as the appearance. So that's what you're aware, but the awareness isn't slipping down the hole.
right,
The faith of
yeah.
awareness. Awareness, I was
But
aware of this,
the negative thinking, the repetitive negative thoughts, negative thinking is
that has
not you.
faith. That has to do with faith. Faith in thoughts is what's producing the effect. Yeah. So one word signifies faith in thoughts, my thoughts. That signifies faith in thoughts. And then thoughts can ruin your day when they're held as yours.
So the key is when you notice, I suppose, the gravitational pull of this is about me, it's a trigger almost to stop. Hang on a minute. Am I going in a good place here? Am I going in a good direction? Is there a hole in front of me? I'm going to fall down very soon.
What happened with me was when I got sober and became, I moved away from 2 levels below a coconut, started to become aware of stuff. I became aware of the power of thought and the engine behind it, which was faith. Yeah. When the thoughts told me I was worthless and no good and nothing was going to happen, the fear that evoked was faith. Faith evoked the fear. I had faith in the forecast of a mind ahead that does not know, but I had faith in it, and the effects were produced by the faith. So most people's fear is produced by faith.
But faith in fear
And
can
what's
be,
telling you you're afraid? Yes, you have
Yeah.
faith in that which is telling you you're afraid, that it's giving you the right diagnosis, and it isn't.
but it creates the reality that it is.
It makes the appearance that we call reality. Yes, it does make that. Yes, because there's a subjective experience. So there's no real meaning to anything here other than that which is given it. So as Buddhism would say, everything is inherently empty, and therefore it can be given meaning. And that's what the head does. And there's faith in that meaning, and therefore that thing that has the meaning of being real has a real effect on you. Yes, definitely.
Good or bad.
Good or bad, faith is neutral. So
Negative
if
thoughts
you have
can,
faith in the thought system, it's going to produce a lot of mental anxiety.
yeah.
Yes.
And negative thoughts can be almost nuclear in power, in their ability to.
Not the thoughts. The thoughts are not the charge of negativity. It's the faith in the thought that gives it the charge.
Right.
You can see a complete difference in someone when they realize the thoughts that they've been following are not theirs. They get relief. The thoughts are exactly the same, but they get relief from them.
Mm.
Yeah, the thoughts haven't changed. They haven't become positive. They haven't become loving. They haven't been kind. Yeah, but the meaning that they have changed. The thoughts did not change the meaning. It was the faith that changed. You lost faith in the thoughts because it's not worthy of faith. It's a failed system, and now that faith is in something else. Let's say the intuitive sense or the feeling of a hunch, and then you go for it. Yes. Now you have faith in something. And if you watch, like it says, faith in works, when faith is manifesting, you see the results. Yes. Yeah.
So if
So
someone,
that very clear, humbly to me, that the thoughts, the obsession with self and the thoughts as being mine produced a here that wasn't actually here. And so my salvation, which was the here, was covered up with a mental here I wanted to get out of at all costs most of the time. That was only produced by faith. Nothing else could have done. A power, faith can, as it says, it can move, the size of a mustard seed can move a mountain, and faith can make mountains out of molehills. That's what it does. Yeah. We are faith. We are trust. That's one of our powers. In recovery, that's what we're seen as. We are seen as, there's two possible ways: trusting the infinite or trusting finite self. It doesn't say you trusting. It doesn't say you trusting. It says trusting. You are the trust. You are the faith. Yeah. And it's either in finite self or in infinite. Yeah. And the faith is going to manifest by the vehicle it is put in. I have seen what it can manifest in the vehicle of the mental activity. I have.
but a hole is a hole, and people slip into them, and very easily without realizing.
By falling into holes. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. When, let's say you fall into a 2-foot hole and you are clear about that, do you feel like you're going to die in a 2-foot hole?
Well, I wouldn't like it.
No, but will you gonna have a fear of death? No. But when you start falling, it tells you it's a 800-foot hole, and there's faith in that, then it really fucking hurts. Yes.
Yeah.
So it's not the feet of the hole; it's the faith in the head.
Right.
Yeah. So faith is active at all times. This is how this place works in a way. Manifestation is faith. Yeah. So how could appearances seem real unless there was faith in it? Yeah. If you were aware, which you are, you would be aware of things or appearances. it's only faith in those things that make them appeal real. You know? When you lose faith in it, then you see this as dreaming.
So would you say that faith is the silent power back of all dreaming, of what makes this place seem so real?
Yes, of course.
But because it's a
The emptiness is not making it seem real. It's the one or that which is the observing of it is giving it a reality through faith. Yeah. Look at what happens. Look at the stock market. The stock market is not real. It's all based on faith. If
Mm.
people lost faith in it, it would drop completely. The whole system here is run on faith. If enough people lost faith in it, it would collapse. There's nothing there. There's
So-
nothing behind money. Money's just rolling around. People are printing it and shit like that. And there's a lot of faith that it means something. If enough people saw it, it just doesn't mean shit. The whole system would collapse. It would. It's all held up by faith.
but sometimes I've listened to you for so many years. Sometimes I think I'm invisible.
Oh, great. Because you are. That's a
And
good
I'm
news.
not,
You finally got a sense of your true nature. What you are is invisible.
I have to say before I shut, but I
Yeah.
have to say, I can't tell you how surprised and delighted I am to see the change in Kathleen.
The what?
The change in Kathleen.
Oh, Kathleen. Oh, great.
Unbelievable change in that lady. I am so happy, and my heart's so happy to see how a few months ago she was questioning everything, and now she's so happy. It's just the most lovely thing.
That's
And
right.
how you stuck by her and you didn't let go and encouraged her to stay with us, and it just brilliant, Paul. Brilliant. Fantastic.
Faith is in the long game.
Yeah, well, that's evidence of it for sure. Thanks, Paul.
Wouldn't you like to know how meaning is given? Just to have an idea, it's to recognize what's going on and what is always before what's going on, which is what would people call awareness, yeah? And so in time, there's hierarchies. In time, to me, before is more influential than the after, yeah? What we're living in is an after that's said to be before. It's all you need. It's not a denial of it. There's a negation of its position, and then it becomes after, and you're living as the before. And that, to me, is the engine of lightness. Yes, as you travel here. Yeah, yeah. All right. Thank you. Anyone else?
Hey, Paul.
Yes.
Um,
3 you're out.
I guess I forgot what was I forgot the plot.
You forgot the plot.
I guess I got nothing. I don't know. There was oh yeah, there's a sense. See, that's so fucking weird that I have to remember the problem. I gotta make it up.
Leave it unremembered, bro. Move on.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Fuck it.
Yeah, move on, bro. Just
Yeah.
leave it unremembered.
Okay.
It doesn't
All right.
deserve
Sounds
to
good,
be
man.
remembered
That's
anyway.
right.
Yeah, good, bro.
That's
Let's move
right,
on.
man.
I'm
All right.
moving on. Leave you alone now. Yeah. Anyone else? I see Alan Olson here. I see James Olson here. It's like a 2-barrel shotgun, the Olsen brothers. There's always Judy Lovins. There was a time there was no Judy Lovins, and now there is a time of Judy Lovins. Very good. Anyone? No? Say, Karen, I think it's around time. Yeah, we can go. Amelia's fell asleep. All right. Meryl, thank you for sharing us with, sharing you with us. Yes, very nice. Yeah.
Thank you, Paul.
Yeah, you're welcome. And if you're in AA, remember you're in good hands. Remember the simple statement that you have a new employer. This is the world of the action figure. The action figure has a new employer. Being all powerful, it's going to take care of us. Yeah. If you stay close to it, and you can't be far from everywhere, right? And performance works well. And who's saying what works so well? Yeah. Yeah. So basically, that's the contract that we are in if you're in recovery. Something greater than us, a new employer or a higher power, however you want to picture it, being all powerful is going to take care of us. Yeah. That means right now, take care of us. If we perform, if we stay close to it, and you can't be far from everywhere. So that's a given. And performance works well. And that's a pretty vague thing. So any work could be performed as well or badly as you can and still be called his works or its works. Yeah. And now you're going to be taken, you'll be in good hands. Yeah. This is the lullaby of the action figure. Sleep doing whatever troubles you may be finding yourself in, and rest because you're in good hands. Yeah. Really, this is the action figure here has fled to this idea because of the whacking it took out there based on the management of the head. And I found great solace in it over 36 years. And a lot of things came and went, good and bad. But I always had a sense that I was in good hands. Yeah. And it was completely a different sense that I had been living under for many, many years. So, yeah, those hands are big, baby. You can jump right in. Yeah, yeah. And tell us when things work out, please.
Thank you. I will.
Yeah. Gotta honor the demonstrations, or perhaps there's a better way. Yep. All right. So, all right. Anyone else? No? All right, Eric and Vista. I hope you get your house fumigated. I don't wish that on many people, but for you, it seems appropriate today. Yeah.
It'll happen. Thanks for the dialogue.
Oh, you're welcome, bro. Kathleen, as always, learning without learning. Very good. Yeah. Gary C., Mr. Placerville, looking better every time.
Thanks, Paul.
Welcome.
Hope to see you sometime when you get back.
Yeah, I'll be home, I hope, Tuesday with lovely Amelia. Hopefully we arrive. Yeah. Yep. Brian C., 2024 AD. Mary McNulty, thanks for your share,
Thanks,
honey.
Paul.
Mike Clark in Mexico. It looks like he ate the canary or whatever. Very nice. Chris H. David Lowe. Alan. James. Nice to see both of you. Thank you. Miak. Oh, Miak. How you doing? All right, hon? Yes? Hey, we're going to call you. Yeah, let's call Mia. We'll call you right after this. Thanks. Mia is house sitting, watching the dog and the cat. Graham, Ben, nice to see you, Ben. Yeah, yeah. Annette, as always. Rico, a man of his word. Mike G, thank you, Mike. Yes, yeah. Yeah. Judy Levins, John K., formerly known as Jed or Jeb. something. Nice to see you. We got Mucci Facet.
Thank you,
Nice-
Paul. Thank you. Grazie mille.
Oh, yes. We got Lori. Nice to see you, Lori. Don O'Connor, the man who realized he didn't need to be on a retreat at the retreat. Very good. Yeah, very good. Greg, I hope you feel better, brother.
Yeah, it's all good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll all work out. Always does. I'm in
Yes.
good hands. Those
Yes.
big hands.
Yes. Yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. Zoe. Nice to see you. Harry, how are you? Yeah, good, great. Call us in the next week. We'll be home hopefully Tuesday. Say hello. We like to see what's going on with you. Burned. Oh, burned. Mike M. Mike M, you're right down the street in Pescara.
Yeah.
We'll see you. Give us a ring in the morning. Let us know what's going on.
Will do.
Right?
Thanks for everything, Paul.
Oh, no problem, bro. Thank you. It's been a pleasure hanging out and watching you come and go. Yeah. Rob M, Massachusetts. Andre, Lynn D. We got Floyd. Nice to see Floyd. And Jules on vocal. Hey, I don't be able to get to the other page. If I missed you, I haven't actually. And thank you. And we'll be starting again Tuesday. There won't be any meetings, but then from Wednesday on, it'll be back to the old schedule, I think. Yeah, so thank you so much. This is a nice way. We've had an incredible time. Something was attacking us when we called it a retreat, so we fooled it, and seemingly so far. And it's been a trip meeting all these people over here. All right, thank you. See you.